Lost Journey. You know I don't usually jam to no music. Let me turn this off. Off, please. Okay. I don't know why not. I'm not being monetized anyway. So, what's the deal? What's the deal? Right? Well, here's the deal. The deal is, this is what we're not going to do. Right? We're not going to sit up here and play these games disrespecting our president. That's stupid. If you don't like the country, you don't like the policies of the country, then why can't you go find it? Go find it, right? Go find what you're looking for. If it's not here, then go find it. For you to sit up here and say it's your job to change what's going on here because you can't do what anybody else can do, then you need to go find what you're looking for. Okay? That's kind of like what happens when, the man says, I'm not satisfied here. I'm bored. I can't do this anymore. What do we tell them? We tell them, go and find what you're looking for. Now, just because somebody tells you to go and find what you're looking for, that doesn't mean that you can come back whenever you get ready. You see? Don't think that that's the case. Right? But go find what you're looking for. Right? We have people who will argue that they don't have the freedom they're seeking here in America. Right? And I'm going to tell you, I hated the last 4 years. The last 4 years, it was scary. And it looked like the only people that were prosperous were people that were, unconventional. And my thought is, I don't have a problem with people that are unconventional, right? Unless I pull out my magnifying glass and find out that, what I thought was just unconventional or innovative turns out to be immoral. Then I have a problem. And I know you'll all be thinking, what is morality? What does morality have to do with the thing? Well, morality has something to do with everything, right? Without morality, we would all be dead. Okay? when we start thinking about the universal laws are natural laws. It's not the man-made laws. Now, you all have pushed the man-made laws to the point where, they're like, no. They're sick and tired of, not only do they go through the efforts of making these laws, to try to protect people, you show your ass and say, oh, but you can't catch me. Then when you're caught, then you want to cry grace and mercy for the most heinous crimes. It's one thing to ask for grace and mercy, because you stole some food to eat because you was hungry. But it's another thing when you're out here raping and pillaging and, destroying people's, homes and property. Maybe even your own home and property. Right? And then say you're the victim. That's the type of, ridiculousness that has been going on in the last 4 years. Now, during COVID, a lot of people, they had a lot of viewing time. They had a lot of people that were at home. They didn't have, as many content creators, and that's the way that it was. Right? These people, they were at home working remotely. So after, things started opening up, and it didn't open up, like the floodgates just opened, but they opened up, and people started slowly getting back out here into circulation as far as their career, as far as, being a student or whatever, right? You blamed Google, you blamed the algorithm, you blamed everything except the fact of the reality is that people are not just sitting at home afraid of the disease like they was in 2020. Your subscribers, they increase, when people have to stay at home. Period. They decrease when people start becoming more active. Now, also, more and more people are, trying their hand on the World Wide Web. Right? There's all of these different platforms. Okay? Many different platforms. Right? And we all know when, it comes to money, people have the tendency to be territorial. And America's no different. want to say is, the more we start throwing around words and misusing them, right? We create a cognitive dissonance. I cannot believe how many times I've heard the word narcissist, right? If you have some weird feeling about somebody, the first thing you want to say that they're a narcissist. If somebody is stronger or out-talks you, the first thing you want to do is call them a narcissist. If somebody wants to, emotionally manipulate you, the first thing you guys want to do is call them a narcissist. No, all of us have narcissistic tendencies. That doesn't make us a narcissist. Right? Just like all of us have humanitarian tendencies, but it doesn't make us a humanitarian. Right? Just like all of us may have, sexual tendencies. However, it doesn't make us a sexual addict. Okay? All of us loves kids, but it doesn't make us a pedo. Okay? So stop with the overgeneralizing of definitions and biased interpretations. Just stop it. Now, most of you are not clinicians. You practice medicine without a medical license, right? Some of you will even say, well, I can call you whatever I want to because I'm not a professional. Because there's no chance that I will lose my medical license for calling you a narcissist. It takes a whole diagnosis to call somebody to call somebody a clinical term. It's one thing to say, I believe they are this, that, and the third. I believe they're bipolar. I believe that they are, right? Or if you know that somebody had been diagnosed as bipolar, and you say, well, yeah, they're bipolar. They were diagnosed as bipolar. They got, benefits because, they were not able to, to function in society. Right? Let's keep it real. What these diagnoses really mean. You can't tell me that you get paid as a non-functioning human being and then turn around and say, oh, you can function in society now. And I don't understand that. I don't understand that. They're like, they paid you to stay at home and not be a problem. And now you want to tell them, oh no, you're not bipolar anymore? Oh, you don't understand the extent of your mental illness is so severe that you need to stay home? Right? And I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. Right? Because crazy people, not even crazy people, know that they're crazy. Okay? Crazy people think everybody's crazy. Because that's their reality. And even though they might get around other people and they're like, wow, my entourage is also just like me. Like, yeah, that's your algorithm. That's your algorithm. But, the one thing that really has to stop in our society is this sexual addiction. This sexual addiction is terrible. Right? It has gotten to the point that sadomasochism is at an all-time high. Okay? There's nothing wrong with, mild cases of, sexual addiction. But when there's too many people in our society suffering from sadomasochism, there's a big problem. And we're going to be ruined as a country. We might even be ruined as a whole human race. And that's not even my argument. My argument is, shit, whoever you having sex with, you need to pay them. And stop sitting up here lying that, it's love. Because it's not love. And whoever it is that is giving you children, they need to get a stipend for that child. Right? So that you have people that you can control, manage, do whatever with. And when I sit up here and I listen to the misogynistic men, and they'll want to say, well, it came from the white man. No, it didn't come from the white man. Slavery, it came from the white man. No, it didn't come from the white man. It came from the black man. Black men are still involved in the slave trade and human trafficking to this day. Why? Let me tell you why. Because they have too many families, right? They want to have all of these women, and these women that they have end up at some point, having children. Then they're like, oh my God, I can't afford to feed all of these children. Right? Some of them, they walk away talking about, they're going to go and try to find different ways to make money. They go somewhere to find a way to make money. They stay there and they get them another wife. They just abandon that family back there. And the men that are doing this, they don't see the suffering of the family that they left behind. They don't see it. Right? Now the children, they see it, they feel it, and they're hungry because they're like, oh my gosh, my mother can only do so much. They're burdened with, having to be responsible at very young ages to either make money or to try to help the parent with chores, tasks, watching the siblings. And a lot of them, they feel burdened by that. I don't know how many times I heard the story of the firstborn, right? Especially the firstborn women who were like feeling as if they were more of the mother than the actual mother, because the mother had to go out there and work. Then they were upset because they were like, they feel deprived of being able to have their childhood, pursue their ambitions, their dreams. And I know you guys are like, well, so what? They're just women. Right? Or, they're doing what needs to be done as a child. Right? Then they grow up thinking that, okay, now they're free, they can finally live their life. Which, they are under the false notion that, they're going to find a man. And, these men are constantly falsely telling people, oh, they're going to provide, they're going to protect and provide. That's what they say. What is their job? Protect and provide. So you need to be, the domestic help so that they can protect and provide for you. But then they can't even maintain a comfortable, adequate lifestyle, right? They tell you, no. You need to find, soap that everybody can use. No. You need to eat food that we will all eat, right? And here's the thing. This is what they say, right? But you best believe over many tables there have been arguments about who gets the chicken breast. This was something that was going around, especially back in 2020, right? Where, it was like, we're going to buy a whole chicken and, and the man, he automatically gets the chicken breast. And even when the man says he doesn't care if he has the chicken breast, this time maybe he'll take, the chicken wings and the legs, right? And so then the males will fight over the chicken breast, right? I mean, if we think about it, right? It was like Dad got the chicken breast, right? Both, because it was like, well, he ain't just gonna be having just one piece. He had two pieces. So he probably had both chicken breasts. Mom probably got the chicken thighs, right? The brother, he probably got the chicken legs. And the daughter, she probably got the chicken wings. People used to didn't like wings, right? When I got the chicken wings, I was happy. I was like, yay, I got the chicken wings, right? To me, that was like the best piece, right? And ironically, 60 years ago, people weren't that fond of wings. They just weren't. But I was elated, right? And it's so weird that's, what? When did it actually happen? About 35 years ago, chicken wings became a thing. Before then, it wasn't. And then about 25 years ago, they started having places that specialized in chicken wings with sauces. Yep. Anyway, but that just goes to show you, the type of tradition, right, that get instilled in us, that we really don't pay attention to, right? Unless you were one of those people that asked the question, how come I can't have a chicken breast? And there must have been some people, there must have been so many people that asked, that created a need where they started offering bulk chicken breast packing at the store. You know, if you watch the things that go out onto the market, this will let you, this will give you clues about the issues that are going on, right? If more people want chicken wings, what happens? They start selling chicken wings in bulk, right? Now, typically, we don't let small children have a choice, right? What do I mean? We don't let small children have a choice. Typically, small children, if they're not in a wealthy household, they're probably going to get a leg or a thigh. And most likely it would be a leg more than a thigh. The thigh would go to the older children. People's buying habits, have a way of putting our habits out here on the front line. One of the things that I was looking at today was the fact that we had scrutinized the Ringling Brothers Circus as being cruel to animals, right? When I was younger, the Ringling Brothers, they had wild cats, they had elephants, they had a few monkeys, along with the clowns, the acrobats, and then, the sideshows, the sideshows with human beings like, the woman with the beard, the fattest woman, the midgets. Oh yeah, the midgets were definitely there. The horse shows, and the acrobats, and the knife throwing and magic shows were also included at the circus. Those were the sideshows. Then it slowly, some of that started branching out, and people were, doing, renditions of what was a circus or a carnival or state fair, or, right? But I remember that I was offered to go out on a date, to the Circus Soleil. And I was like, because I didn't know. I didn't know. I was like, oh, great, this would be so nice, we can have this family outing because, I had a child. And they were like, no, 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 you're going to need to get a babysitter because this Cirque du Soleil is, it's not for children. I was like, what? What is a circus, that's not for children? I was very naive, right? Very naive. So, my child went to the babysitter. I went to the circus, and, I was only able to appreciate the acrobatics. Although I could sense that the other people around me, they were appreciating something on another frequency that I was not on. I wasn't on that frequency. I knew I wasn't on that frequency. Right? And, because when I was asked, didn't you think the circus was great? I was like, yeah, it was nice, It had acrobatics, although, it wasn't like that much different than, the typical gymnast. And they were like, they loved it, it had these various plots, and I was like, yeah, I noticed that there was plots, but I didn't get it, and they were like, yeah, not everybody gets it. I guess that was sort of, to patronize me and my naivety. Because, when I was in California, it wasn't uncommon for me to go to Las Vegas. And, in Las Vegas, they have different types of shows. Very similar, they do acrobatics, they do, very, I would have to say fabulous type of presentations, contortionist galores, right? Many contortionists, right? And I can say the most awesome thing, I had ever seen was a full-grown person inserting herself inside a $12-inch cube. To me, that's the most fabulous thing ever. Okay? along with, the flying trapeze. Yeah. The flying trapeze and, being able to contort yourself into what looked like a 12-inch cube. Yeah. So this is where, this was during the time when they started, giving a sexual content rating on the liberal arts. Movies were rated, PG, G, like general audience. Parental guidance was PG. R, restricted, right? I think restricted means, 17 and above. X meant, there was going to be some sexual content in it. Right? Restricted means there is some eroticism, but not sexual content. Right? So when we see the internet, right? One of the reasons why I don't get on IG or Instagram or some of these other platforms is because, of some of the nudity that I seen on there. I seen body parts. I seen a depiction of a guy shitting and pretending he was a volcano. I mean, it grossed me out. And because it grossed me out, I was like, oh no, personally, I cannot see these vulgar things without it affecting the way that I see humanity. Okay? I like to believe that human beings are decent human beings. It's hard for me to see the debauchery and the shenanigans. Like when it came to TikTok and the type of pranks that was going on TikTok was offensive to me. I'm like, what? And then they were like, oh, but it's cool. This is just for videotapes, And I was like, oh my gosh, Why would you do that just for content? And they were doing the most absurd thing, right? And I know the people who aren't doing the most are like, no, we're not doing the most, but there are people that are doing the most, right? There was this young man, well, a group of young men. There was a group of young men that would travel and get a reaction out of, the natives of these other countries in what would be considered a disrespectful way. They would mock their religious statues. They would grope and, sexually harass, their girlfriends or their women. And, I was like, oh no, I can't do TikTok. If TikTok is about this, I can't do it. What even had, drew me to TikTok was when, they were showing, clips where, they had edited to make it look magical, right? That drew me to TikTok, right? But eventually, the whole algorithm had changed to something else, like what I was just discussing, right? There was this one lady, she was going around there telling people that, you fine, you so fine, you should market what you got. Matter of fact, let me be your manager. And the harassment was displayed as funny, but really, sexual harassment is not funny. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so it's almost as if, what has to happen when it comes to, content creators is, they're going to have to post, an audience rating for every video, because not every one of their videos are going to be R-rated. And sometimes a video gets into the X-rated, right? When you start talking about relationships and the things that people do, that to me is getting into an X-rated video, right? So when that gets posted, they need to present, and prepare people that, this video is rated G for general audience. Even though it does say when you post your video, is this acceptable for kids, or is this you're not accepted for kids? But just because something is acceptable for adults doesn't mean that adults want to entertain sexual conduct. Okay? I'm a full-fledged adult, right? I'm damn near 64 years old. And You can't tell me, oh, I'm an adult, and sex is a natural thing, and yay, and I'll be quick to tell you, excuse me, but that's just too much information. I don't need to know about your sexual habits, desires, practices, what the hell? What's wrong with you? And I don't want my grandkids, being bombarded with sex because you have all of these sex addicts and sex perverts out here, thinking that this is normal. Right? Because here's the main reason behind that. The main reason behind that is when you get so sexually perverted that you no longer believe in love, your only satisfaction after that point is sadomasochism or dominance and bondage, just so you can trap somebody so that you can commit your sadistic behavior upon them. And of course, you're going to say, well, not everybody will lead down that slippery slope. And it's like, well, maybe not everybody, but why should anybody? That's what I say. Why should anybody? When you get to the point where the very thing, human contact, humans loving one another, is unattainable within yourself, you've indeed become a monster. Okay? Now, after talking about all of this, and we see the argument is by a lot of men is that they want to be able to have the same privileges as those with the power, the influence. Damn, Dallas looks so beautiful. I just gotta show you against this backdrop. Look at Dallas. Isn't it beautiful? Wow. So anyway, it is indeed beautiful. And and that's the thing, I've gotten to the point where inanimate objects appear to be more beautiful to me than actual human beings. And they could have all of the great dimensions, a lean body, curves in the right places, right? But what makes them ugly is what's in them or what's not in them. What's not in them is love. What's in them is what I would call wanderlust. And they're not the same thing. They're not. Most women understand because women spend so much time raising and having children, right? 20 years is a whole motherfucking career for the average man. And most men, they don't have that type of discipline or commitment to work a job, to be in a relationship for 20 years of anything. You know, school, you name it. They just don't have it. They don't do it. It's too hard. Okay? And society is like, no problem, right? However, where we start to have the problem is where these same men will then want to be leaders. They'll want to be get involved in having families, and then 5-10 years into the commitment, they want to bail out. And society was accommodating and they allowed them to bail out, but they said, you can bail out, but you're gonna have to keep providing for your family. Damn, it's 35 degrees out here. You're gonna have to keep providing for the family that you created and help that woman, with the children that you helped produce. And he's like, no, I hate her. And they're like, that's beside the point. You didn't hate her enough not to create those children. So here we are today where the men are saying, hey, if I feed you, I think that you should, accommodate me. That's what they call it. It's just an accommodation. It shouldn't bother you to accommodate me, right? And here's the thing, right? There are women out there who would be willing to accommodate you if you didn't try to ruin their reputation or their life. Okay? Right? So these women that accommodate you, they end up being slandered behind the scenes while you tell everybody how, damn, while you tell everybody that, you've had sex with her, she's a whore, and all of these other, wicked, accusations about her, and the fact that, she accommodated you. I can't believe how long it took me to get to work. Lord have mercy. I think I might be late. Yeah. I took more than an hour getting to work. So, now, here's the thing that I have to say. Whether or not our president, because let's keep it real. First of all, he's a president. Second of all, he's part of the he's part of the super tribe. You say you want peace. If you want peace, then stop the verbal attacking. Stop rallying the people up to try to do some weird revolution that's not going to win. It's going to be futile. Third of all, it is not going to be a woman that's going to get people to stop being misogynistic. It will have to happen internally amongst the men. A woman cannot make a man stop from being a tyrant. If they're a tyrant, they're probably a liar, a cheater, a rapist, a thief, a scammer. They don't play by the rules, period. Okay? So, even back in the West, right? When they was colonizing the West, right? And there were people who came to America feeling like they had came to a land where they could be free, right? And then there were other people who were like, yeah, I'm taking everything because we're free to take it. And ain't nobody gonna stop us. Okay? So people have their own perspectives about what freedom is. Okay? And then when it got so bad, right? They have to hire who? They have to hire assassins and missionaries. To take out these oppressive forces. It wasn't the women. It wasn't the prostitutes. It wasn't, these people just found God. No, it was not. Never has it been that people just, they found God now, so, they're going to respect the rights of all people. Nope, it didn't happen that way. That's why, even though, Billy the Kid or Doc Holliday or any of these other, fastest guns in the West, were hired, to maintain, law and order, eventually they knew that their time was going to run out when people will want to take them out also. They knew it. Especially when, criminals, they feel like, hey, they don't die, they just multiply. Dang, this is like the latest I've gotten to work ever. Where I'm just pulling up. And it's starting time, right? It's 3 minutes before starting time, and I'm just pulling up. Right? 5 minutes, according to my watch. So I still have time to get inside on time. So let's do it.